2 years after we got married, my husband brought up the idea of having his mom move in with us. She's getting older, he said. She raised me alone after my dad passed. I want to take care of her now. I didn't hesitate. I smiled and started clearing out the sunny guest room, the one facing south. Perfect for a few potted plants and morning coffee. He stepped into the freshly cleaned room. Didn't say a word, just lifted me off the ground and spun me around like a goofball. I shrieked, "Put me down," while swatting his chest. But he just grinned and said, "Let's go get mom." My husband's big and broad. The kind of guy who makes you feel like the world can't touch you when you're in his arms. Anytime we fought, he'd pick me up and spin me until I laughed through my stubbornness. That kind of dizzy, happy fear, I loved it. But things changed when his mom moved in. She never quite adjusted to city life. She couldn't understand why I bought fresh flowers every week. "You kids waste money," she'd mumble. "You can't eat flowers." I'd smile, trying to keep it light. "But they make the house feel alive. Mom, they make me happy." She'd grumble under her breath. My husband would chime in. "Mom, that's just how people do things here. You'll get used to it." She didn't argue, but every time I came home with new flowers, she'd ask how much they cost, then sigh loudly when I told her. Once, she caught me returning from a shopping spree and asked the price of every single item in my bags. I answered truthfully, "Big mistake." She sighed so hard you'd think I was bankrupting the family. Later, my husband nudged me. "Next time, lie, just tell her everything was on sale." That was just the beginning. She hated seeing her son cook breakfast. To her, men didn't belong in the kitchen. Every morning, when he made eggs and toast, she'd sit at the table looking like she was attending a funeral. Sometimes, she banged her spoon on her bowl, loudly enough for everyone to notice. I work as a dance teacher. Mornings are my only peace, just a warm blanket and 10 extra minutes of sleep. So I let him cook. And I ignored her silent protest. She tried to help out. But honestly, it made more work for me. She hoarded plastic grocery bags all over the kitchen, to sell later for recycling. She said she refused to use dish soap. Said it was wasteful. I had to sneak back and wash everything again when she wasn't looking. One night, she caught me. She slammed her bedroom door and cried loudly enough for the neighbors to hear. My husband didn't say a word to me the whole night. I crawled into bed and tried to joke, to cuddle, to fix it. Nothing worked. Frustrated, I finally asked, "What exactly did I do wrong?" He looked at me and said coldly, "You could have just let it go. Eating off a less than clean plate won't kill you." After that, she stopped talking to me. Our home felt tight and awkward. My husband was constantly tired, torn between us. Eventually, his mom took over breakfast duty. She'd smile at him while he ate and glare at me like I'd failed some secret wife test. I started skipping breakfast entirely, grabbing a milk carton on my way out. One night, he asked, "Rhodey, are you avoiding breakfast because you think my mom's food isn't clean enough?" Then he turned his back to me in bed. I cried silently, curled up on my side. The next morning, he sighed and said, "Just do it for me. Okay? Sit at the table. Try." So I did. I forced a smile and took a few bites of her porridge. But halfway through, my stomach turned. I ran to the bathroom and threw up everything I had. I tried to stop it, but it just kept coming. When I came out, pale and shaken, she was crying in her thick countryside accent, saying I'd humiliated her. My husband stood at the bathroom door, furious. I tried to explain, it wasn't personal, just morning sickness, but the words got stuck in my throat. That was the first time we ever had a real fight. At first, she sat quietly, watching us argue. Then she stood up, slowly walked out the door, and disappeared down the street. My husband looked at me like I'd ruined everything, then ran after her.